Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Apollonia Ponte, your love, dating, and relationship coach. Today I'm joined with my best friend Monica, and we kind of just wanted to do a friendship video about how we overcame our friendship and got to a certain level in our friendship where we just were really compassionate for each other. And we came from a background where we grew up together, really. I knew Monica since I was about 15 or 16 years old, and it's really important that we talk about this. And the reason why I brought Monica today is because a lot of times that I'm coaching, and I'm coaching my women, is the question that always comes up is, how do you get friendships to be sustainable? Or how do I have good friendships? Or how do I maintain good friendships in my life, right?
Yes.
So that's why it's so important. I wanted to do this video with you. So I kind of wanted to share how we met first. So Monica, do you want to just talk about how we met?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Monica is a spiritual coach. She is the founder of Mindful Modern Mama, and she also has a website as well, which is monicaereyes.com. So please feel free to visit it. So yeah, let's go back. So I wanted to talk about how we really just met.
Okay, well, we had some mutual friends. I actually at the time was dating a guy who you went to high school with.
Yeah.
And we broke up. I was devastated. I was pretty young. And I was working at this oyster bar, and we went there on an off night, and then you showed up with another friend, another girl named Monica, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And we got, kind of introduced ourselves. We met each other. We had I remember playing pool, I think. We ended up we laughed and we had such a blast, and then we kind of kept in touch, and our friendship just really blossomed into so much, right? Obviously ups and downs, but we're where we are right now. So.
Exactly. And that leads me into what I really want to go into are really the ups and downs, right? So we have a lot of common questions too that women have in general, all women probably have these questions is, how do you know the friend is the right friend when you have these ups and downs? Or how do you know that you can trust this friend when you have these ups and downs? So one of the biggest thing is, in Monica's and I's relationship, we had a relationship where I was 16 and she was, around that age as well. And we just had times where we would just grow together. And when we grew together, it was more of we were finding out a lot about ourselves. Like we were developing into women. And sometimes there was things that she would go through that I wouldn't really probably support. And then there was things that I would go through that she wouldn't support, but we verbalized this to each other. And the biggest thing I think that made us more close in our relationship as our friendship was we had a certain we had a foundation of compassion and forgiveness for each other. So I was always open with her. If she disappointed me, she would tell me.
She led that though, and that's actually something that she taught me, because I come from a family that isn't very open, right? My family, my parents, they both come from families that just aren't open, not a lot of open communication. They just didn't know. That's kind of the way they were raised. So naturally I was raised that way.
And here's one thing, and I don't want to cut you off, but this is and I want to mention this in this video because this is very important when it comes to friendship. And the reason why I did that was not only because it's who I was, but I did it more with Monica because I knew that about her family. And I knew that about her growing up. And I took the time to know her background. And I knew the only way I can get through to Monica and really have my word and for her to hear my word is when I was completely just really blunt with you, and that was what really sometimes saved our friendship, because it also came from a place of love. I wasn't doing it out of spite. She never did anything out of spite with me. It was just more of a growing pain. And if we messed up, we always forgived each other and apologized.
Yes, and that's the key, is like finding somebody that you've got values. You started off talking about this video, like how do I know if I can trust this person? How can we find sustainable friendships? And I would say we start off this with not only just friendships, but other relationships. How I knew my husband was the right man was simply like making sure that your values are aligned. So we're both compassionate, we're both forgiving, we're both ethical, we both have integrity. So like finding finding somebody that you can mesh well with. If you have somebody that doesn't have the same integrity as you, I mean, even regardless, like I was filled with fear, I had no communication, but I was a good, under all of it, I'm a good person, right? I'm a good person, I have a big heart, and she knew that. And because she took the time to find out my story and find out my history, and she knew where I was coming. Sometimes I was just afraid. I didn't know how to communicate. I was afraid that she was going to react a certain way, and she actually ended up teaching me that I could be honest and I could be open too, so that, she was gonna kind of, hold me in that safe, loving space.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing is you always want to create a safe energy between your friendships, right? And how are ways that you can create a safe energy? Like, for example, one way that I know of is when you tell me something in secret, you know that I'm not going to tell anybody else.
Trust.
Yeah, is trust. I mean, now we know that, your husband I'm very close with too, but sometimes we know when not to tell the husband, but then we tell the husband too, because he's now my best friend too.
Oh, we're girls.
Who's married into this relationship. But, creating that energy is really important. That's one way. Like, what's another way that you would think of, that you would give somebody advice in creating that energy in the friendship?
I would also say, whenever you do something wrong, or there's something that perhaps you know that you might have been at fault, and even if you don't know,
the other person,
make sure to take ownership, right? I mean, because again, it's two ways, So if there's something, if I ever have to communicate something with Apollonia, and it's a hard thing to communicate, first off I say, okay, how can I take ownership for this first? What did I do, that I can take ownership for, and then I go in and then have that conversation. And then other thing I would say is just compassion, right? We've already mentioned that, but really holding that space for compassion. So because we're not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, right? So so for instance, if a friend does something that you kind of rubs you the wrong way, first thing I think of is, first off, have I ever done anything like that, right? Like a just like me. Have I done anything like that before? And most of the time, I would say, maybe might not be like that same grandiose level, but if you could just kind of bring it down a level, you might be able to find a certain common thread. The other thing about compassion that I use in all of my relationships, and really all of humanity, that has allowed me to really become an incredibly compassionate person is, I think of, all right, so why would somebody, why would somebody have done something? Or just say there's something that bothered you about somebody's action, right? It could be anywhere. It could be a friend, it could be a relationship, could have been the lady at the coffee counter, right? She was angry, she was wasn't nice, or kind of rubbed you the wrong way. I think of, what if she just found out her dog died? What if she just broke up with her boyfriend? What if Apollonia is having a bad day, right? The difference about friendship is I know Apollonia. I know I have this incredibly solid foundation of who she is. So she is off one day. It doesn't rub me the wrong way because I know who she is. So I just ask her, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Can I support you with anything? Do you need a hug? Do what can I do for you? If it's a stranger off the street or somebody that you're trying to start a relationship with, sometimes you can't ask that question, but you can still try to think of other ways in your mind of why that person might have done something. I'm always the fastest to forgive. Now, it doesn't mean that because you forgive, you have to actually be in that friendship. There are things called toxic relationships that maybe this person isn't the right friend for you. I always ask myself this one question, is this person an engine or an anchor? So I personally like to surround myself with people that fuel me, right? Like an engine that really take me up, because that's where I'm going. If somebody's kind of constantly taking me down, and if I can't deal with it because I'm empathic, then I'm gonna have to separate myself. I create a little space, but then I might come back and see if I can help.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to mention that relationships and dating takes work, right? So we tend to forget as women that friendships are just here and they're just going to do its work because we just get along. It's not true. Friendships take work. Everything in life takes work, and especially every relationship. And that's meaning love, that's meaning dating, that's meaning marriage, and that means friendships. We only got to this place because we worked with each other. We worked on things when things were getting hard, when things were getting tough for us, and we knew that maybe I just needed my time or Monica needed her time. We stepped away, but we always came back together. And that's truly what's important, is you always put in the work, especially if they're your engine. So now Monica and I have been so blessed to really just be a part of each other's life, and more, we came from Orlando together, and she moved down to Miami, and I was soon to follow. She gave me a place to stay with her now husband, and now I am, launching my coaching business, and she's in her coaching business. And it just goes to show how much God really had planned for us in our friendship, because we truly learned so much from each other. And now we're just truly so aligned, and we can actually do a video like this together and just really show other people and be real with people about what friendship is really all about.
And what's possible. Because every time I talk to my clients or anybody, oh yeah, these are my childhood friends, or I've been friends with Apollonia for a long time. They're like, wow, that's so nice. I wish I had that.
Yes, I get that a lot too.
You can have that. You just have to work at it. You have to fight for it, and and just take these tips and use them.
Exactly. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm so happy Monica and I could do this video for you together. And if you have any questions or want to talk to us about anything about friendships, relationships, love, please feel free to comment below, and we'll definitely answer your questions. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.